Hey everybody, Coach Toolshed here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a video sort of giving you a week's roundup because we had a pretty busy news week and there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to go over, a lot of stuff I wanted to cover, and that includes some Fallout 76 confirmation, some answers to a couple of questions that I've been looking for, some stuff that I talked about in my video a few weeks ago before QuakeCon, some stuff that I wanted answers to that didn't actually get answered during QuakeCon, and Pete Hines was so kind as to provide some answers on Twitter this week, and a couple other tidbits from that game, and then we got some other news to get into. But let's just jump right in to what Pete Hines had to say this week on Twitter. So one of the questions that you may have remembered me asking was I wanted to know about loot drops and how those were going to work. Now, we didn't get a big breakdown from Pete because, of course, we're never going to get that. But what we did get was a little bit of a clarification because someone asked how drops are going to work if him and his teammates kill a monster. Is there going to be loot for everyone or just someone that damaged that monster first? And Pete replied just one word. He says all, which means that everyone who is participating in the kill will get a drop. So that means that people aren't going to be able to just run up that are on your team and just steal your drops, which is something that can be really annoying. So that means that your loot should be tied to your account. So whatever drops happen, they should be just dropping for you. And someone else asked him if that means that if they went into a cave or a dungeon or a house or whatever after someone else just came out, would there still be loot in there? Would everything all be busted open? And Pete said that yes, there would still be stuff in there for you to get. So that leads me to believe that stuff, the loot drops, is all going to be just tied to your account. It's going to be instanced, and so that's something that's good. You don't want it to be a situation kind of like maybe with Borderlands, which something that could be annoying is if you're playing with people, maybe they weren't teammates, maybe you were joining a public group and you just jumped in, and people would sometimes run up and take all the good loot off the bosses. They'd leave you to fight the enemies while they try to run around and just collect all the good loot that was laying around. So that's something that can be kind of annoying. Now, something else he said that was interesting, which is not really a great sign as far as I'm concerned, and let me explain why. To me, this is something that is both anti-consumer and sort of another red flag for the game, is that someone asked him if they were going to have a chance of an open beta for people who don't pre-order, which a lot of games do, especially games that are new IPs, that are maybe have some worried fans, and maybe they're trying to draw people in. Usually if they're pretty confident with how the game is going, they will have an open beta after a closed beta. So they're not having an open beta. That was confirmed by Pete Hines this week. So anyone who thought that, maybe they'll have this pre-beta, beta test, and then they'll have the closed beta test for people that pre-ordered, and then maybe after that they'll have an open beta for the public. No, Pete Hines said that is absolutely not happening. So the only way you're going to be able to try this game out early is if you pre-order. So, Pete also had a fun quote this week that I just wanted to throw out there. And once again, this is the head of marketing, and this is the guy who's had this job for a very long time. And everyone loves Pete Hines, but this is just something I thought was funny, and it was an interesting sort of choice of words from our friend Pete Hines. So, someone asked him about the beta test, and he said, "I think we are on the right course and will be prepared as we can be, but no battle plan survives contact with the enemy. Ours certainly isn't going to either." So, just so we're all clear, in this analysis that Pete Hines gives us right here, just so we're clear, he compares us, the players, we are the enemy in this quote here, just so we're clear. So Pete Hines, just a little slip of the tongue perchance, Pete, or maybe just sort of a little dig at people that are paying attention, or maybe it's just completely innocent. This is just a normal comparison that one would make. But yes, to be clear, in this comparison, the players are the enemy. But that's all I have to say about Bethesda at this time, because we got a lot of other stuff to get to, so let's just jump right into that. So, the other thing that was big, this happened this week, was we got some good news for the players as consumers in general, when this week a major game known as Overwatch, which is made by Activision Blizzard, was forced to remove their loot boxes from their games over in Europe, in Belgium. And there was also some legislation passed in the Netherlands, because the laws in those countries were changed to say that those sort of randomized loot boxes are in fact gambling, which is what a lot of people have been saying for a lot of times. And especially the way that they are presented in a game like Overwatch, especially, which is clearly geared to have sort of a younger demographic with the art aesthetic and everything else. It's definitely designed to lure them in, kind of like a Fortnite. And so the problem arises when you're enticing people who are not of age yet to be making these decisions to buy these loot box purchases. So in Belgium and the Netherlands, they've had various laws passed that said that, okay, these loot boxes where you don't know what you're getting, these are gambling. And so Overwatch had to take them out. And Overwatch is a big game, and sort of one of the games, that's one of the games that people point to as like, well, look at Overwatch, man, those are just cosmetics, nothing wrong with that. But actually, there is something wrong with it, because if you played Overwatch, you know that it can be a huge grind to get anything you want. And people who say, well, you don't have to buy it to play it, well, yes, that is true. That is true. But if you're sinking time into an online game, you're sinking a lot of time into it, you're going to be pressured to buy it. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pressure you to buy it. And that's why at the bottom of the screen, at the end of every match, they let you know, in all these games that have loot box drops, they always have a meter at the bottom of the screen letting you know how close you are to the next one. And the longer you play, the longer that bar gets. The longer the time you have to put in to get the next one. So I don't want to hear that sort of argument, because you're just denying reality. But that to me is a good sign. I'd like to see some more of that type of legislation passed throughout Europe. There's talk that maybe the EU will do something about that. Today, actually, well, this would have been on Thursday, PEGI, which is a ratings board, announced that in Europe now, they're going to be required, these games are going to be required to have an additional decal placed on them if they have in-game purchases. Now, that is a small step, but once again, that's a step. That's what we need to try to put a stop to some of these monetization practices that I've been talking about in a lot of my videos. And I know some people love to defend the monetization, but the fact of the matter is, guys, these games don't need this monetization to make money. People say that they have to have them. People say, oh, who's going to pay for the emotes? Guys, give me a break. Okay? Enough. I actually had someone arguing with me about how they have to pay to have emotes made. So, of course, we should play them. And how dare we players want things for free? It's an emote. Guess what? Players didn't want emotes before they started charging for them, and then everyone had to have emotes. Guys, don't lose objectivity just because it's something that you enjoy. But, okay, moving on. We're on to something else. There's more news. So this week, EA was forced to announce that they are going to be moving Battlefield 5 out of its current spot. They're saying they have to delay it for, gameplay reasons, and they have to fix some things in the game. I think anyone who hears that knows that is complete garbage. They put out an entire press statement. I'm not going to bore you to tears with the PR garbage that came out of their mouth in that press statement, because it's all irrelevant. It's all just nonsense. But basically, they didn't mention any of the actual reasons why people would be moving it out. Why they have to push it. Now it's getting pushed back past Fallout 76, getting pushed back into the middle to late of November. So, I think we all know what the reason for that is. First off, it was in a terrible spot between Call of Duty and Red Dead Redemption, and then there's Battlefield. But EA is trying to use that partially as an excuse. The launch window. It's the same terrible excuse they tried to use to justify the terrible reception that Mass Effect Andromeda got last year. Yeah, did you hear that when they tried to blame Horizon Zero Dawn and Zelda Breath of the Wild for the fact that Mass Effect Andromeda didn't live up to players' expectations? It was because it was surrounded by these other games that it suffered by comparison. Shut up, EA. And now they're trying to do the same thing by, we have to fix some stuff and the launch window. I think anyone being objective already knows that the damage is done with Battlefield 5. Now, they're probably going to pick up some more sales. So this will probably help cushion the blow with investors, I would imagine, because they probably will get some extra sales because it's going to launch right before the Thanksgiving Black Friday holiday that we have, where there's just going to be massive amounts of spending going on right after that game launches. So it's still going to catch that holiday rush, that Christmas rush. So it's still going to sell okay, and they're probably going to appease the investors, which is what really EA cares about the most. But I think we already know that the PR damage that has been done to the game and the franchise, and to EA, again, with another black eye for EA, is the real reason why that game's getting pushed back. Because of the terrible reception. And it will probably help them moving back, but it's not going to fix all the damage. Let's face the facts, guys. EA can try to cover this up, explain it away any way they want, but I think anyone paying attention knows the actual situation is due far more to the PR backlash and the comments from Patrick Soderlund, which I discussed last week, and all the disastrous PR that they've done with that game. So that's all I really had to say about that. But we still got some more. Because as we all know, the biggest news of the week was that we got a 48-minute Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay reveal, which has set the internet world afire with hype and praise for what surely will be the greatest game ever created on the planet Earth. Right? I have to say that, right? Right? Do I have to say that? They're telling me I have to say that. So, I know some people have been asking about that, and I am going to get into that, but it's going to deserve its whole other video because I want to talk about CD Projekt Red as a whole, as opposed to just talking about the trailer. I'm sure you've seen plenty of trailer breakdowns if that's something you're interested in, but I'm going to be talking more about sort of the game and the company, and I'm going to talk about The Witcher 3 and my feelings on it. And so I'm going to be doing that in a separate video at another time. So I didn't want to leave it out of the news update because, of course, that's the big news of the week. But this is all just a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. I didn't want to do a separate video for each one, so I figured I'd throw them all together, give you my opinion on this stuff. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And hey, if you want to subscribe, that'd be cool. Coach Toolshed Gaming. I'm Coach Toolshed. As always, you keep it turned to 11.